All right, guys. Last Devil's Details, or whatever you want to call it, of the year for 2024. Thought this would be a fun one to do about the hardest workouts I have done. I got in a conversation with someone at the gym about a week ago. Planted the seed in my head. So both all time and then recently, what are the hardest workouts I've done? And then I have a story for you at the end of this one. So going back to when I got started with CrossFit in 2007, I went out to San Diego to get my L1. And famously, again, you did Fran at your L1. And so we did Fran that day, and I was doing this with Jason Kalipa. We were the two first ones out of the first 21 thrusters on Fran. And from there, it was all downhill for me. I still remember how badly I felt that day. And I feel like that was my first exposure to CrossFit-like intensity. Up until then, myself and my buddy Jay were teaching ourselves CrossFit. It was very unknown. We were following the main site. I think that was my first exposure of CrossFit-like intensity, and I still remember it vividly. And I have never been, guys, I've mentioned this before to you, there's two kinds of people in the world. Hip hinging people and knee hinging people. Those people that would rather do in a typical Metcon, if you have a medium weight, would you rather do a bunch of front squats or a bunch of deadlifts, or a bunch of front squats or a bunch of power cleans? I fall into the deadlift power clean camp. There are those that fall into the front squat and then maybe thruster camp to extrapolate from there. So Fran has always been a difficult workout for me, even when I was at my most fit, and it has still had a lot of staying power. So for hardest workouts, Fran will always make my list of hardest workouts. Beyond that, I think the most common one you're going to hear if you talk to seasoned CrossFitters is Kalsu. Kalsu is 100 thrusters for time, 135 for the guys, 95 for the girls. So a heavy weight, with the catch that every minute on the minute, you're doing 5 burpees, which that is a secret to making any workout more intense, is doing an EMOM-like style, where at the beginning of each minute, you have to do a certain amount of work with a certain movement, because it forces a pace. It forces you to not slow down till the workout is done, because otherwise you just end up spinning your wheels, hamstring a wheel, you're going nowhere, because you're spending the whole minute each time doing that buy-in work. And that is what happens with Kalsu. That's a heavy thruster. All of a sudden you're at like 60 thrusters, and the 5 burpees takes you 30 seconds. You take a breath, you're only getting 1 or 2 thrusters a minute. And that workout can very quickly take an hour. I did it out at a field years ago. It was definitely over a half hour for me. I think it was under an hour, but it was a long workout, not one I plan on doing anytime soon. And then more recently in this year, with the invention of the Echo bike, and this could have been done on the Assault bike, but max effort, 50 calories for time, and or the one we've done in class, 10 rounds of 10 calories max effort with a 2-minute break in between. You give me any normal workout, and no matter how bad I feel, 90 seconds later, I'm standing up, walking around, breathing heavy, but doing okay. It will take a lot longer than that for me to recover from either one of those. That 50 calorie bike, if I'm going full send, maybe I can get it done in 2 minutes. I will feel bad the rest of the day. And then beyond that, the 10 calories, 10 times, my quads don't stop cramping on that one for, it is a long time. So that workout definitely has left a lasting impression on me as a way to drive intensity. And again, you do that slow, like I've said to you guys with any workout. If you come out of a workout and you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad, you probably did it wrong. You apply enough intensity to any workout and it gets hard. And so with the bike, you can go half-ass and it's not going to be as bad. But if you go full send on either one of those, I think it's about as bad as it gets. And then I was thinking through the open. The open by nature always feels harder. There's a judge. You're being ranked on it. So it brings the intensity to those workouts that I think we should bring to class more often than we do. So all of the open workouts seem harder. But then some, still looking back, have that. They were just a notch above on the hard list. And I think Castro notices this too and tends to rerun the hardest ones because he wants us to test hard workouts. So couple of those that stick out. This one, he ran twice, in 2014 and in 2016. It was the last workout, 14.5 and 16.5. 21 to 3, 21, 18, 15, 12, 9, 6, 3 of thrusters and bar facing burpees. And with these hardest workouts, you're gonna see a running theme that thrusters comes up a lot. But that workout was like an 18-minute workout for me. Brutal. I did it both years. An awful workout. Then there's another one. More of you may have done this one since it was more recent, but 2017, 2021, it was the first workout in 2017, 17.1, the second workout in 2021, 21.2, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, alternating dumbbell snatch. So from the ground, walk out overhead with a 50 for the guys, 35 for the girls. And then after each set, 15 burpee box jump overs, standard height. 20-minute time cap. In 2017, I did that with Jason. I barely finished. In 2021, I did that again, and I did not finish. And I'd like to tackle that one again in the future. I will, because it is an awful workout. And then the last one, 19.5. So the last workout of 2019, which was just Fran adding, basically more than doubling the reps. So it was 33, 27, 21, 15, 9 of thrusters and pull-ups, just like Fran, but adding in the 33 and the 27 rounds at the beginning. That was a 20-minute time cap. I did not finish in 2019. I'd like to tackle that one again too, but I would have to get geared up for it because it is a mental devastator with how hard that workout is. So those are the ones that came to mind when I thought of the hardest workouts I had done, not in any particular order, but the ones that really stuck out to me as hard workouts. A couple things you might notice there, hot takes on this. What did not make the list? What would not even make my top 10? Murph. Guys, Murph is a long workout and a good workout. I don't think it makes the list of hardest workouts, which is fascinating because if you'd brought up that workout when you would, let's say 2011, 2012, a mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, another mile run, people would think you're nuts, you're crazy. And that's why we all do it, because it looks crazy on paper. And it's a testament to what CrossFit has established as something the human body can do. And again, with the kipping pull-up, with how we do things, it allows for that kind of volume. But it's just kind of a grinder. It's a good workout, but I don't think it makes the list for two reasons. One, there's nothing forcing your pace. So yeah, if you go harder, by nature, it's going to be harder. But there's nothing like Kalsu with the EMOM to force your pace. And two, it's just all body weight. And I think that's a running theme, guys. When something is just body weight movements, just calisthenics, it can only be so hard. Because I'd say the same thing for Cindy. Cindy is one of my favorite workouts. 20-minute AMRAP, 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, 15 air squats. Great workout. Would make my list of favorite workouts, but does not make my list of hardest. And I am very sore afterwards. But it's not that devastated kind of feel you get from the hardest CrossFit workouts. And again, I would say it's because it's just calisthenics. What is one of the secrets to CrossFit is the fact we use 3 categories: monostructural, gymnastic, and weightlifting. And that weightlifting category is what makes what we do so much harder than just a lot of body weight boot camp type workouts. And it's why when someone does a workout, but they scale the weight too much, their hands are on their hips. Oh, that was a good workout, but they were having fun. And then the person that did it with the RX weight or a more appropriate weight that they could still move but got heavy is laying on the floor devastated. Finding that sweet spot with a weight you can move, a weight that's not going to stop you, but a weight that you will make you want to stop, is such a key to making what we do in CrossFit so effective. And so it's adding that weightlifting element to these workouts is why I think all the hardest workouts have that as one of their elements. Going back to my knee hinging people versus hip hinging people, I've had the discussion, would you rather try and do Grace, which is 135 clean and jerks for time, and try and do that in 2 minutes? Or would you rather do Fran, 2159 of thrusters and pull-ups in 5 minutes? For me, it's easy. Grace is really hard, but I can do a 2-minute Grace and I'm not as miserable as I am with a 5-minute Fran. But I think very easily you could find other people that would very much say that 5-minute Fran is more doable for me than the 2-minute Grace. So some of this depends on your build as a person, your strengths and weaknesses, what you naturally cater to. And it's all, the hardest workouts are always going to be the ones that have the movements you're not as good at, is what's going to make it hard. But I think you saw a running theme was thrusters in a lot of these. Also, I don't think AMRAPs make the list. I've said this before. I don't think by nature AMRAPs are great workouts where you do as many reps as you can in a certain time, but they're not as intense as a 4-time workout when we're talking about absolute intensity. If you think of an AMRAP workout that you would put in the hardest category, let me know in the comments or let me know at the gym. And then I'd say it's also things that can stop you cold in a workout, stamina. So Diane was 21:15.9 of deadlifts and handstand push-ups. And back in the day, I could tear through that workout. Nowadays, I would be so slow on the handstand push-ups, it would not be that hard. It would be hard in the sense I just can't do it. But it would not be hard in the I'm devastated and it's super painful at the end of the workout, because the stamina factor just would stop me cold. And that's how some workouts will do. If the weight's just too heavy as well, that will stop you cold. There is a famous old school CrossFit workout, King Kong, that I was trying to find in my journal. I did this either in 2015 or 2016 because it was right after Scar was born. But it's 3 rounds, small reps. 1 deadlift, 455 for the guys, 320 for the girls. 2 muscle ups, ring muscle ups, 3 squat cleans, 250 for the guys, 175 for the girls, and then 4 handstand push-ups. So that's a workout. If you can't do the weight for the deadlift or the squat clean, it's just a non-starter. You can't do it. For me, when I did it, I knew I could get the deadlift. I knew I could get the heavy squat cleans. It was actually the 2 ring muscle ups, especially on the 2nd and 3rd round when I was tired, that I wasn't sure I was going to be able to get. So I'm glad I did it. But nowadays, and for, if you just can't touch that workout, it's not hard, just because you have to have a certain amount of strength to be able to do that. And going back to another classic workout that I think is a great workout to do, but wouldn't make the top 10, either 100 burpees for time or 7 minutes of burpees. I did that with the coaches. It was either at the beginning of last year or the year before. Always a hard workout. One of my favorites to do at home on a Sunday or on vacation. Great, quick workout, full body. But again, because of the nature that it's only calisthenics, it's only body weight movements, it's not going to make the list of hardest workouts if I'm making a list of murderer's row of toughest workouts to do. All right, so that's kind of my list. I'd love to get your thoughts. Maybe that provokes some thoughts of what is the hardest workout you've done. I'd be curious, because maybe we can add them in for 2025. On the last episode I did, guys, I mentioned Joe's bachelor party and how I was proud of how that turned out. And I got some questions. Why are you so sure that you did a good job with that bachelor party? So I'm going to regale you with a story about this. And this is back in 2002. I was 28 years old. This is before I met the love of my life, before I met Janelle. So about 7 years before I met Janelle. And it was for Joe's bachelor party, and me and Dave were the brains of the operation. And we were going to get, it was kind of obligatory, we're going to get a stripper. But I was, even back then, I was kind of like, that's so cliche and overdone, and it just seems kind of typical. How can we make this idea more creative, more original of getting the stripper? And so went through a few ideas. Some were better than others. And I cannot claim original intent on this. It was either something Joe had said, Dave and I have discussed this, or I think maybe Dave came up with it first. But either way, I was like, yep, that's the idea. So we were starting the bachelor party by meeting in a park on the lake in Chicago. Chicago has some great, beautiful lakes, big old trees, nice green grass. We were going to meet out there in the afternoon, kind of pre-party with some coolers and some beer, and play bocce ball. And then, go out from there in the evening. And we were like, why don't we get the stripper to come and play bocce ball with us? Why do we have to end the night with the stripper? Why can't we start the day with the stripper? And this seemed like a great idea. And I will say in general, guys, a lot of times when there's a crescendo for an event, I tend to be the type of, let's do that right at the beginning. And then it's all gravy from there. That's why Janelle and I on our dates tend to want to have sex at the beginning of the date. But that's a story for another time. Anyways, so we decided to do this. So we're out at the park setting up the bocce ball. Car pulls up. Young lady gets out, and she's in, a thong, little pasties on her boobs, and has one of those sheer robe things you'd wear to the beach with a little tie, but it's all see-through sheer. And then long high heels, 6-inch heels. And she's like, what are we doing here? And I was like, you're going to play bocce ball with us. And she's like, I'm going to do what? And I'm like, yeah, you're going to play bocce. She kind of looks at her, she has her handler, the dude who makes sure nothing gets out of hand there. She's like, it's the same rate, same hourly rate if I'm here. And I'm like, yeah, I figured, I assumed. Yeah, we want you to play bocce. She's like, all right, let's do this. So walks over there, and the poor girl, her heels are sinking in the, you know, it's this grassy field, so her heels are sinking in the dirt out there. But the interesting part was, she was pretty good at it and started getting into it. And so she's playing with Dave, and we're having a little round robin tournament, teams of 2, and she's doing pretty good. I lost to her with my team, and then she's talking shit. So she's saying, I'd like to see how good you guys could do out here if you're basically naked. And touche, I don't think I could do very good playing bocce, mostly naked. And while we're doing this, of course, people in the park, there's couples sitting on blankets having some wine, nice families throwing a frisbee around. They notice that we're playing bocce ball with a mostly naked girl. And so that is getting some attention. And the guy, instead of having to be the referee for, hey, don't touch this or don't do that, he's making sure nobody's cheating at bocce. And I thought this was just, had worked out perfectly. Everybody's having a big time. I had thought, like, it was spectacular, the way the day was working out. And so we end up playing bocce all afternoon with her. She gets really into it. We're having a big time. She ended up losing in the championship game. Her and Dave lost, and I can't remember who they lost to, but either way. And then at the end, Mike Del Greco. Mike is a big badass fireman who was at the beginning of his career. Now he is nearing retirement. He's finally referred to by us as Squishy. Squishy was the most brazen of all of us at that time about how much of a pervert he was. So he's like, well, we didn't bring a stripper out here to not have a lap dance. So he's leaned up against a tree, his back's against a tree trunk. She's putting her butt in his face, and everybody thinks this has just been a wonderful afternoon. So I will say, having heard that story, and from the rest of the day went out. We went out and got drunk, did the usual bachelor party stuff. But that part and just the interactions and stories that went on. I mean, of course, guys are looking over and their girlfriends punching them in the arm. Parents are shooing their kids away from the spectacle that we are. It was pretty hilarious. So that's that story. I know we have several engaged men at the gym. If you need a consultant for your bachelor party, I am very happy to do that work pro bono. And so going into 2025, guys, I might, you might do the typical talk on goals. What are my goals for 2025? How many of you have lost and bocce ball to a stripper? Good goal for 2025. Right on. Talk to you later.